Ada for pulling my best friend out of her house on her birthday. It was the night of my best friend's birthday, and we had planned it for weeks. Her name is Mia, and we've been close since we were kids, the kind of friends who finish each other's sentences and laugh at jokes no one else understands. Mia has always had a rough time when it comes to dating, and her new boyfriend Alex had always seemed strange to me. Not because he was shy or awkward, but because there was something about the way he spoke to her, the way she looked at him like she was waiting for permission to speak. Still, Mia wanted him to join us, so I agreed, hoping for the best. We were supposed to go out that night, just me, Mia, and our friend Lily. But when we got to Mia's house, Alex wouldn't let her come outside. At first, he said she was too tired. Then he said she had changed her mind. I could see her through the window behind him, standing there with her coat half on, looking like she was about to cry. I knocked and asked if she could come talk to me for just a minute. He shook his head and closed the door. Lily and I stood there on the porch, not sure what to do. Mia had been excited all week. We had balloons and a small cake in the car. I knocked again, trying to stay calm. Alex opened the door a crack and told us to leave. His voice was cold, quiet, but firm. I asked to speak to Mia directly. He said no. Lily tried too, but he ignored her completely. We stood there in the cold, hoping Mia would come outside. After a few minutes, I could see her through the window again. She wasn't moving, just standing there staring at the floor. I felt something inside me snap. I shouted through the door, begging her to come out, telling her it was her night, her birthday. She should decide what she wanted. Alex slammed the door shut. I texted Mia, but there was no reply. Lily called her phone. Alex answered and told us to go away. His voice was calm, almost mocking. Lily was starting to cry, and I felt helpless. We decided to wait in the car for while hoping Mia would sneak out or call us. But nothing happened. After almost an hour, I couldn't take it anymore. I went back to the house and knocked harder. No answer. I banged on the door, calling Mia's name. Still nothing. Finally, in a moment I regret so much, I pushed the door open. It wasn't locked. Mia was sitting on the bottom step of the stairs, hugging her knees. Alex was standing over her, arms crossed, staring at me like I was nothing. I told Mia to come with us. She didn't move. Alex told me to leave before things got worse. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear my own voice. I said it again, Mia, please come with us. She whispered something I couldn't hear. Alex stepped closer and said she's not going anywhere. My hands were shaking. I didn't know what else to do, so I reached out to Mia, telling her we could just go for a short walk, just 5 minutes. Alex blocked me, pushing me back a step. I lost it. I shouted at him, told him he was ruining her night, told him she deserved better. He smirked and said she wasn't going anywhere with me. In that moment, I did something I can't fully explain. I grabbed Mia's hand and tried to pull her up. She stood for a second, then Alex pushed her back down. I yelled at him not to touch her. He laughed at me. The noise brought Mia's mom out from upstairs. She asked what was happening, but before I could answer, Alex said I had broken into the house and was causing trouble. I tried to explain, but my voice was shaking and I sounded crazy even to myself. Mia's mom told me to leave. I kept saying, I just wanted to make sure Mia was okay. She said she's fine, go. I turned to Mia one last time and she wouldn't look at me. I left with Lily. In the car, I started crying. Lily was quiet, holding my hand. We drove around for a while before heading home. Later that night, I texted Mia again, telling her I was sorry if I made things worse, but that I just wanted her to have a good birthday. She didn't reply. The next day, she finally answered. She said she didn't think it was okay that I forced my way into the house. She said Alex was just trying to protect her and that I made everything worse. I apologized over and over, but she didn't respond again. I feel guilty for pushing so hard, for losing my temper, for making her night about my fear instead of her choice. But part of me still wonders if I was wrong to try to pull her out of that house. Was I wrong to think she deserved to choose for herself on her birthday, or was I selfish to think I knew what was best? I keep replaying it over and over, trying to figure out if I really crossed a line or if I was just trying to protect someone I love. And the worst part is I still don't know. Dang, birthdays shouldn't come with bonus episodes of hostage negotiations. Honestly, it's wild how someone can gatekeep cake like it's classified info from the Pentagon. Next time, maybe gift her a grappling hook just in case she needs an exit strategy. And Alex? Bro gives off the same energy as a broken umbrella, useless and controlling at the same time. Seriously, anyone who acts like a bouncer outside his own girlfriend's life deserves to be left on read by karma. Pro tip: when a friend's date acts like a medieval moat, always bring emotional marshmallows, soft words, warm hugs, but keep a battering ram of boundaries handy too. Also, imagine explaining to aliens that Earth's birthday parties sometimes include uninvited boss fights. Embarrassing, really. Lily crying was heartbreaking, but big respect for staying instead of bolting. That's real friendship, like emotional Wi-Fi, always trying to connect even with a terrible signal. real. As for you, don't beat yourself up for caring. It's better to be the friend who knocks, literally, than the friend who vanishes when things get messy. Sure, the door push was dramatic, but hey, sometimes love trips over its own shoelaces. And Mia? One day she might realize castles built by controlling dudes don't come with happy endings, just a lot of locked towers and awkward family dinners. Until then, keep your phone on, your heart open, and your door-pushing hand maybe slightly less. Ready? Final advice. Friendships don't always wear hero capes perfectly. Sometimes they look messy, loud, and very oops. Doesn't mean the love behind them wasn't real. Also, always keep balloons in the trunk. Emergencies happen. Story 2. AITAH for not booking a dinner I wasn't going to attend. I had flown back to my hometown for a short visit and thought it would be nice to see some of my old friends from school. We had shared so many nights at a small diner we all loved when we were younger. I suggested we meet there again, partly because it felt familiar and partly because I was watching my budget on this trip. At first, there were a few replies that sounded positive, but then the group started leaning toward trying a new restaurant downtown. They said it was a place they had wanted to go for a while. I explained gently that I couldn't join them for dinner because the new place was more expensive than I could afford, but I would be happy to meet them afterward for some drinks and to catch up properly. A few people reacted to my message, but no one really answered. The conversation kept moving, and I had other family visits and plans, so I didn't read every new message. I did feel a bit left out, but I thought it would still be nice to see them later that evening. Originally, I had offered to make the reservation because I was the one who suggested the diner, but once I said I couldn't come to the new restaurant, I assumed someone else would handle it. On the night of the dinner, I was across town meeting two friends I hadn't seen in years when my phone started buzzing with calls and messages. At first, I didn't answer because I thought it might be about plans for after dinner, but then I saw they were asking me for the reservation details. They had arrived at the restaurant and were waiting for the table. I wrote back and explained I hadn't made a reservation because I wasn't going to dinner, and I had said that in the chat. Some of them seemed upset. A few told me to come help sort it out. I replied that I couldn't get there quickly because I was on the other side of the city. After that, they stopped answering my messages, and some calls went straight to voicemail. I didn't go meet them later because it felt like they didn't want me there anymore. The next morning, there was a long message in the group chat saying I was selfish and that I should have made it clearer I wouldn't be coming to dinner. They said I always pull away when plans don't go the way I want. They told me to apologize before speaking to them again because they had dressed up and were excited about this dinner. After that, they removed me from the chat. Now I keep thinking about whether I really was wrong. Part of me feels I could have done more to make sure they understood I wasn't coming. But another part of me feels it wasn't fair to expect me to handle the reservation for a dinner I had clearly stepped back from. I keep replaying it in my head and asking if I should reach out or if it's better to let it go. I know I could have communicated better, but I still don't know if that makes me truly at fault or if it was just an unfortunate misunderstanding that grew too big. And now I'm left wondering if a small mistake was enough to lose old friends forever. Man, nostalgia trips shouldn't come with plot twists worthy of courtroom dramas. Who knew suggesting pancakes could spiral into a social media exile? Honestly, your friends sound like they treat group chats like Game of Thrones councils. Miss a meeting and suddenly you're banished beyond the wall. Pro tip. Always triple underline, I'm not coming. Maybe throw in interpretive dance emojis, skywriting, or a carrier pigeon to really drive the point home. Also, side note, group chats have this magical ability to turn everyday humans into collective goldfish. Nobody scrolls back up, yet everyone's convinced it's your fault. Budget-friendly wisdom. Next time, suggest a picnic in the parking lot. Cheaper, no reservations, and if anyone forgets, at least you've got the curb to sit on. And wow, them ghosting your calls. That's pettier than arguing over who keeps the AUX cord on a 5-minute drive. That it's wild how Hey Guys diner somehow became Hey, ruined everyone's night. Maybe they all secretly wanted to cosplay as influencers at the trendy spot, and you blocking the vibe was a vibe crime. Honestly though, if your friendship can't survive one missing dinner reservation, maybe the friendship expired quietly next to the diner's ketchup bottles years ago. Random joke for the road. Why did the friend cross the group chat? To immediately forget everything you typed before. And final advice, real friends remember your heart, not your RSVP status. Keep your wallet, your dignity, and your pancake loyalty intact. Let the rest go. Story 3. AITAH for not walking my hairdresser home at night. Yesterday evening, my hairdresser came over to do my hair. Her name is Nina, and I had booked her because she does really neat braids. She arrived around 4 in the afternoon, and we spent hours talking about school and music while she worked. By the time she finished, it was almost midnight. I thanked her and told her how much I liked it. Earlier in the evening, she had said I should come walk her home when we were done. I didn't answer because it felt strange. She's an adult, and her apartment is less than 10 minutes away. I'm 16, and the neighborhood we live in is quiet even late at night. When she packed her things, she told me she was getting an Uber, so I said goodbye and went upstairs to get ready for bed. I had barely gotten into bed when I heard knocking on the door. I opened it, and she was still there. She said the Uber driver had driven off. I tried to suggest she could order another one, and she asked if I could wake my dad to give her a ride. It was past 1 in the morning, and everyone was asleep. My parents had been busy helping me and my sister get ready for a trip the next day. I didn't want to bother them so late, especially because they were already tired. I tried to explain that nicely. I told her it was really safe here and nothing had happened to us before when we came home late. She didn't seem to accept that. She kept saying it wasn't about the neighborhood, but that she felt unsafe because of something that had happened at work. I listened, but I still didn't think it was a good idea to wake my dad. I went upstairs anyway to see if he might still be awake, but my parents told me to go to sleep because we had an early morning. When I came back down, I tried to tell her gently, but she stared at me in a way that made me feel cold. Her look felt sharp, like she was angry and disappointed at the same time. She asked why I couldn't just ask my dad after she had spent all those hours doing my hair. I felt bad hearing that. It wasn't that I didn't care. I just didn't know what else to do. After a few minutes, she ordered another Uber and waited inside until it arrived. When she left, she didn't really say goodbye. I lay awake afterward, wondering if I had been selfish. Part of me still feels that it wasn't my place to wake my parents in the middle of the night for someone they don't even know. Another part of me feels guilty because maybe she was really scared and I didn't take it seriously enough. Now I keep thinking about it. Was I wrong to say no, or was it reasonable because it was late and she lived so close? I don't know if I should message her to say sorry or if it would just make things awkward. I can't stop thinking about the way she looked at me and whether I should have done more to help her feel safe. Yikes. Talk about turning thanks for the braids into an impromptu midnight moral dilemma. It's like the universe threw you a side quest titled Escort the NPC Home. Risk parental aggro. Seriously, adulthood's supposed to come with courage. Points. But even grown UPS gets spooked when the moon's out and every parked car suddenly looks like it's plotting something. Pro tip. Next time someone hints they're uneasy, offer tea, leftover pizza, or your dog's company if you got a dog. Comfort can be a couch and a silly YouTube video away. Also, silent guilt marathons at 2 a.m. Certified teenager move. 10 out of 10 relatable. The look she gave? Classic. I braided your entire scalp and all I got was abandonment stare. Brutal. But hey, you weren't exactly refusing help. You were stuck between wake the parental titans and respect the sleep gods. And that's a lose-lose, like deciding between soggy fries or cold pizza. Random tip. Fear doesn't check Google Maps. 10-minute walk at 1 p.m. equals breezy stroll. Same walk at 1 a.m. equals horror movie trailer. And if you do text her, keep it light. Hey, sorry I couldn't help more last night. Hope you got home okay. Worst case, she leaves you on read. Best case, awkwardness melts faster than ice cream on asphalt. Final silly thought. Braids might be tight, but guilt knots are tighter. Loosen yours. You tried. And if she ever comes back, offer her snacks while she waits for the next Uber. Snacks fix everything. Before we move on to the next story, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, tell us your favorite story in the comments. And if you have your own story to share, let us know down there too. Story 4. AITA for leaving my husband after I cheated, even though he forgave me. I met Daniel when I was 23. He was 26 and felt older in a way that made me feel safe. I had never been in love before him. He was patient and gentle, the kind of person who remembered birthdays and held the door open without thinking. We dated for 2 years before we married. At first, it felt like I had finally found calm after years of restlessness. He brought order to my messy thoughts. We built a home that looked perfect from the outside. Dinner with friends on Fridays. Lazy Sundays in the garden. Family holidays every summer. Everyone who knew us would say we were meant to be. But over time, I stopped feeling like myself. I stopped singing in the car. I stopped writing poems late at night. Every choice became about what fit our life, what made sense, what was best for both of us. My own voice got quieter until I could hardly hear it anymore. Then came Luca. He was a visiting photographer at the community center where I worked. He asked questions that no one else did. He wanted to know what made me stay up at night, what made me laugh until my sides hurt. One evening, I told him I felt like a ghost in my own story. He looked at me and said softly that it wasn't too late to come back to life. That night, I cheated. It wasn't gentle or sweet. It was raw and messy and real. I went home shaking with guilt, and 3 days later, I confessed everything to Daniel. I thought that would be the end, but he didn't leave. He cried. Then he took my hand and said we could fix this. That love was stronger than mistakes. He wanted counseling. He wanted to forgive. And that's when I realized something broke inside me. I didn't want forgiveness. I wanted him to see how lost I had become, to understand why I did it. But he still saw the same wife he had always known, the steady one, the one who made sure the laundry got done and the bills got paid. He was ready to forgive the betrayal, but not to look deeper at why it happened. So I left, not for Luca. I never saw him again. I left because I couldn't go back to who I had been. Staying felt like lying, like burying the part of me that had finally woken up. My parents were furious. My mother said I was selfish. Friends stopped calling. I lost invitations to birthdays and dinners. At work, people avoided my eyes. Sometimes I wondered if they were right. Daniel still texts once a week. Kind words, small updates, always hoping I might come back. And each time I see his name, I feel sick and sad all at once. Because part of me still loves him, and part of me knows I would have disappeared completely if I stayed. So here I am, alone, trying to build a new life from pieces I don't fully recognize. And I keep asking myself if I'm the villain for breaking his heart to save my own. Maybe I am. Maybe it was selfish, but I wanted to feel alive again. And I couldn't do that by being the woman everyone else needed me to be. Whoa, talk about life pulling the ultimate plot twist. Marriage looking like a cozy sweater until suddenly it feels like a straitjacket stitched from well-meaning shoulds. You found yourself turning into the human version of a to-do list, huh? Folding laundry, paying bills, but forgetting the main chore, keeping your own soul alive. Pro tip: never let your inner playlist get stuck on mute. When your own voice turns into background noise, it's time for a remix. Luca might have been the unexpected wake-up call, like your phone buzzing in airplane mode reminding you to turn it back on. And confession? That's brave. Real superheroes wear honesty, even if it comes with heartbreak armor. As for Daniel, sounds like he wanted a quick fix when what was really broken needed deep surgery. Forgiveness is great, but understanding the why is the real VIP pass to healing. And when someone can't see past the surface, sometimes the best move is to exit stage left, even if it means the crowd boos. Funny side note, people ghosted you faster than a bad Wi-Fi signal. But hey, if they can't handle your plot twists, they're probably background characters anyway. And those weekly texts? Like a sequel nobody asked for, but you keep scrolling through out of morbid curiosity. Final advice: don't villainize yourself for chasing light when you've been stuck in the shadows too long. Sometimes, the hero of your story has to break the script and write their own ending. And hey, plot twists make life interesting. Just don't forget to dance a little in between chapters. Story 5. AITAH for thinking about leaving my boyfriend after 6 years together. I have been with my boyfriend Liam for almost 6 years. We met when I was 16 and he was 17. At the start, he was kind and funny. I fell for him quickly. We spent almost every day together since then. The longest time apart was just a few days. I do love him, but over time I have noticed many problems that worry me. I have often tried to ignore them because I know he had a serious accident before we met, and I thought that might explain some things. Liam is kind in his own way. He buys me small gifts and takes me out sometimes when we can afford it. On good days, we laugh and get along well. But early on, he told me I should not wear clothes that show too much. At first, I resisted, but after a while I stopped wearing the leggings and tops I liked. Now I dress how I want again, but he still makes comments about my clothes that make me uncomfortable. He never compliments me when I make an effort. Another thing that scared me was how angry he could get. When he was upset, he shouted loudly and sometimes threw things. He broke some of my personal stuff. This always happened when I tried to tell him how I felt or ask him to change. It was hard to leave because I loved him, but it hurt me deeply. Liam also does not help much with the housework. I work full-time and so does he. But when I get home, I do most of the cooking, cleaning, and laundry. He spends his time playing video games or resting and often says he is too tired. I feel frustrated because I believe a relationship should be equal. Our communication has never been good. Whenever I try to talk about problems, he shuts down or gets angry. He says I attack him even when I try to explain my feelings calmly. I have stopped sharing how I feel to avoid fights, but inside I feel like I am breaking. I also lost my friends because Liam did not like me spending time with them. He accused me of cheating if I went anywhere alone or with others. So now I spend almost all my time with him and our pets. There are more reasons why I am unhappy, but the main feeling is that I am not respected. Liam says he loves me, but I don't feel love. Gifts and dinners are nice, but I want help without asking and respect for my boundaries. Sometimes I think the gifts are meant to make me feel guilty or to get me to do what he wants. I care about his family and the life we have, but I wonder if leaving is better for me. I want to know if I am wrong for feeling this way or if I should try harder. I just feel lost and unsure. Talk about love turning into a full-time job with 0 vacation days. It's like signing up for a romantic comedy and ending up in a drama where the remote's stuck on mute and the popcorn's stale. Liam's version of help sounds more like a spectator sport. Cheers from the couch while you handle the heavy lifting. Spoiler alert, love isn't supposed to be a solo marathon. Pro tip: boundaries aren't optional accessories. They're the foundation. If someone's policing your wardrobe like a fashion cop but forgets to patrol their own behavior, that's a red flag waving so hard it's practically doing the Macarena. And the silent treatment plus explosive temper sounds like a toxic cocktail. Nobody should sip. Funny thought. Gifts are great, unless they come wrapped in emotional baggage. Like, here's a necklace. Now forget that I screamed at you for asking to talk. Plot twist. Presents don't substitute respect or teamwork. Also, losing friends faster than your phone battery dies during a group chat? That's a big O. Healthy relationships don't quarantine you from your own life or your pals. If your social calendar looks like a ghost town except for the pets, maybe it's time to RSVP to self-care instead. Final advice. Love should lift you up, not weigh you down like an overstuffed backpack. If you're feeling lost, try remembering you're not alone on this path. Sometimes the bravest thing is to set down the heavy load and walk toward a place that feels safe and equal. Your happiness is not a negotiable line item. It's mandatory. Before we move on to the next story, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, tell us your favorite story in the comments. And if you have your own story to share, let us know down there too. Story 6. When my husband Mark and I first met in university, we talked openly about our future. One thing we agreed on was that we wanted a big family. At that time, we both thought having 4 children would be perfect, but everything changed after I went through 2 difficult pregnancies. I had a condition called severe morning sickness that left me very weak and sick for months each time. The doctors called it hyperemesis gravidarum. No matter what treatments or diets I tried, nothing helped. I was often hospitalized and scared for my health. The pain and nausea were overwhelming. Even though people knew how hard it was for me, my in-laws still expected us to have more children. After our second pregnancy, when we had twins, we made the decision not to try again. I was honest with them. I told them I could not risk going through that pain again. Mark supported me completely and told them it was no one's business but ours. He has stood up to his parents many times and even asked them to leave our home when they pushed too far. We even took a long break from visiting them because the tension was so high. Now, when we do see them, I usually just ignore their hurtful comments. I find it easier to stay quiet than to argue. Mark tells me I should not feel scared to speak up, but also reminds me that I do not owe them explanations or respect when they disrespect me. My in-laws believe I am rude and that ignoring them sets a bad example for our children. I just want peace and to protect my family. Sometimes I wonder if I am wrong for handling it this way. I am tired of fighting and just want them to accept our decision. Wow, navigating in-law drama while battling serious health struggles? That's like juggling flaming torches on a tightrope. Impressive but exhausting. Hyperemesis gravidarum sounds brutal enough without adding unsolicited opinions from the peanut gallery. Honestly, sometimes family expectations feel like a weird sequel to Guess How Many Kids Nobody Signed Up For. Spoiler alert, you get to write the script. Pro tip: silence can be a superpower when the drama's at peak volume, but don't forget to save some words for yourself and your partner. Mark sounds like your MVP, standing firm like a bouncer at the No More Baby Club. Shout out to him for throwing out the uninvited pressure. Funny thought, in-laws demanding explanations about your uterus like it's open source software. Newsflash, folks, some things are just private property. And ignoring hurtful comments? Honestly, that's your own version of the Jedi mind trick. This is not the argument you're looking for. Advice nugget: peace isn't passive. It's a boundary-setting ninja move. Protect your family like the fortress it is. If anyone complains about your rudeness, just remind them that self-care isn't selfish, it's survival. And hey, one day the kids will thank you for not turning family visits into a WWE match. Final quip: dealing with in-laws can be like trying to put together IKEA furniture without instructions. Confusing, frustrating, and sometimes you just have to accept a few extra screws left over. Keep doing you. Story 7. AITA for asking my coworker if he's raising his kid as a retirement plan after he mocked me for being single. I have been working at the same company for about 3 years now. I have never been in a serious relationship, and I know deep inside that marriage and children are not what I want. The thought of having someone depending on me all the time feels overwhelming. I respect others who want those things, but I know what makes me happy, and I have shared this with some close coworkers. The problem is that where I live, being single in your 30s is often seen as a sign that something is wrong. People assume if you are not married or planning a family, you will regret it later. So when I say I don't want those things, I get comments like, "You'll change your mind," or "You don't know what you're missing." One day, I was talking with some coworkers near our desks. One of them, a woman dating a much younger guy who seems very insecure, said women like me have too high standards and will end up alone. She pointed to the other single women in the office like they were some kind of warning. I just laughed and said that I find being single peaceful. Then a dad from the team spoke up and said, "But who will take care of you when you get old?" I replied calmly, "Having children does not guarantee that. Many people have kids and still don't get the care they need when they are older. her. He smiled smugly and said, "Still better to be safe than sorry. You should start having kids now." Without thinking much, I answered, "Are you raising your child like a retirement plan? Like an investment you expect to pay back later? Because children don't owe their parents care just because they were born. You chose to have them, not the other way around. Taking care of someone should come from love, not obligation." After that, there was a long silence. Some nervous laughs, but no one really said anything. I just smiled and went back to my desk. This kind of conversation isn't new. They often make remarks that make me feel like I am wrong for wanting a different life. I sometimes wonder if I am too direct or if I should just stay quiet and let them say what they want. But it feels important to stand by my beliefs. Later, I thought about what a friend told me. Most people at my work and in my country have more traditional views and might not be ready for the way I see things. Maybe I come off as too blunt or radical to so now I am left wondering, am I the AITAH for speaking so honestly? Should I have kept quiet and let them give their life advice? Or is it okay to be truthful about what I believe? Workplace debates about life choices always turn into accidental episodes of Judge Judy, don't they? You just want to vibe, and suddenly you're defending your entire existence like it's on trial for a crime you didn't commit. Honestly, anyone who thinks single life means broken clearly missed the memo that peace and personal freedom are luxury perks, not punishments. Pro tip: when someone tries to pawn kids off as a retirement plan, just imagine them handing you a fruitcake and saying, "Eat this in 40 years. Spoiler: fruitcakes don't age well, and neither do outdated ideas. Funny thought, that dad's comment about who will care for you is basically saying, my plan is to turn my offspring into human insurance agents. Maybe next time you can suggest they invest in a good health plan instead of expecting love to come with a bill. Advice nugget: honesty is a radical superpower in a world addicted to small talk and sugarcoating. You're not the jerk for standing your ground. Silence is often the real culprit, enabling outdated stereotypes. If anything, you're setting the stage for future rebels who want to live life on their own terms. Final quip: keep smiling and walking away like you just dropped the mic in a TED Talk, because truth bombs don't come with apology notes, and you're nailing it. Story 8. AITAH for asking my fiancé to buy out my condo before I move in. I have been with my fiancé for about 4 years now. We met through mutual friends, and things felt easy from the start. Over time, we built a routine together. Weeknight dinners after work, weekends exploring new places, talking about everything, from little daily annoyances to our hopes for the future. When he proposed, it felt like the natural next step. After the engagement, we began to talk seriously about what comes next, and living together seemed like the obvious thing to do before the wedding. I own a small condo that I bought on my own a few years ago. It isn't fancy, but it's mine. I worked long hours, skipped trips, and gave up a lot of small things so I could afford the down payment. Slowly, month after month, I chipped away at the mortgage, and now it's almost paid off. It's in a neighborhood I love. My friends live nearby, and I know the shop owners, the neighbors, and even the barista who remembers my order without asking. It feels like home, not just because of the walls and furniture, but because it's the first place I made completely mine. My fiancé, on the other hand, rents a larger house in the suburbs. It's a nice place, with a small yard and more space than my condo. He moved there to be closer to his job, and he likes the idea of having room to grow. When we started discussing where we'd live, his first suggestion was that I move in with him. His lease is coming up for renewal soon, and he doesn't want to renew it by himself. He says the house feels more like somewhere we could build a life together, maybe even start a family someday. That's when the hard part started for me. Moving in with him wouldn't just mean packing my clothes and plants and furniture. It would mean deciding what to do with my condo. Selling it would feel like letting go of something I worked so hard for, something that represents independence and years of sacrifice. Renting it out might sound reasonable to some people, but the idea stresses me out. I don't want to worry about tenants calling me in the middle of the night because the sink broke or neighbors complaining about noise. And if something big goes wrong, it could cost a lot of money to fix. I thought about what felt fair and safe for me. I suggested that if I move into his rented house, he could buy me out of my condo. That way, the equity I've built wouldn't disappear. I could reinvest the money or keep it as a safety net. I explained that it's not because I don't trust him, but because I've worked so hard to have something of my own, and giving it up without keeping some security feels like too big of a risk. When I brought it up, he didn't react the way I hoped. He seemed hurt and told me it made him feel like our relationship was turning into a transaction instead of a partnership built on love and trust. He said he thought couples should combine their lives fully, not keep score of who owns what. Later, he told his parents, and they were upset too. They think I'm being selfish and money-minded, and that my focus should be on starting our life together, not on protecting myself. But from my side, it's not that simple. I've seen people give up their financial independence, only to regret it later when things don't work out. Even though I love my fiancé deeply and truly hope we stay together for life, none of us can predict the future. What if something changes? What if we discover that living together doesn't work the way we imagine? What if we break up? Without my condo, I'd have no home of my own to go back to and nothing to show for years of work. Some of my closest friends understand why I feel this way. They know how hard I worked and why giving it up feels scary. They think asking him to buy me out isn't unreasonable. It's a way to protect myself without refusing to move forward with him. But my mom thinks differently. She thinks I'm letting fear cloud my judgment and that I should put more faith in our relationship instead of thinking about what could go wrong. Sometimes I lie awake at night thinking about what this decision means. I picture what life would look like in his house, decorating rooms together, making new routines, cooking dinner, and laughing about nothing. Then I picture my condo, quiet and small, but mine, and feel a twist in my chest. It feels like I'm being asked to choose between love and security, and I'm not sure why it can't be both. I love him and want to build a future together, but I also love the part of me that worked so hard to buy that condo. That part of me wants to hold on to what I've built, just in case. It's not about planning for us to fail. It's about knowing that if something did go wrong, I'd have something left of my own. Now I'm left wondering if wanting this makes me the bad person. Am I wrong for thinking ahead? Should love mean trusting completely, even if it means risking everything I've built? Or is it fair to protect myself while still moving forward with him? So that's where I am, wondering if asking him to buy me out before I move and makes me cold-hearted, or if it just makes me careful. Wondering if love really means giving up everything you built on your own. And asking, am I the asshole for wanting to protect what I worked so hard for before I take this next big step? Relationships really do flip from past the remote to past the real estate deed fast, huh? Love songs forget to mention the part about comparing mortgage payoff dates and debating resale value over takeout. Turns out happily ever after comes with closing costs. Hot take: protecting your nest egg isn't the same as fencing your heart. It's like wearing a seatbelt. You still plan on getting there safely. You're just realistic enough to. No potholes exist. And let's be real, your condo isn't just drywall and paint. It's sweat equity, skipped brunches, and 1,000 late-night worries that built it brick by brick. Funny twist, dudes worried this sounds like a business deal, but newsflash, marriage itself is a contract. Literally, there's paperwork, witnesses, and sometimes a buffet afterward. Love can still come with spreadsheets, and that's okay. Advice nugget: merging lives doesn't have to mean deleting your past. You can build new walls together without bulldozing the ones that kept you safe before. Holding on to security doesn't cancel out commitment. It just means you're packing both hope and a backup charger. Final quip: asking am I the asshole is proof you care enough to double check. And trust me, the truly cold-hearted folks don't lose sleep over it. Loving fiercely and thinking wisely. That's not selfish. That's called adulting on expert mode. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell us your favorite story in the comments, and feel free to share your own story too.